Okay. I did not clean my office, but I made it blue. So it's Wednesday and you came back. Thank you very much. So I thought we'd do a quick video just to kind of show what we've gotten done this week or what I've gotten done this week. Ideally, it would have been a whole bunch more, but things happen. Basement things happen. Quick aside, remember those whistles we had when we were kids, the bird whistles? You put like a little bit of water in them, you blow, and it kind of bubbly spit thing. Um, Turns out that noise, that happy noise from our childhood, is the same noise of water bubbling up from my foundation. So now that happy noise is a sad, expensive noise. But we're not going to think about that or talk about that. We're going to talk about the game. So to do that, I wanted to first back up a little bit to the video before where I said that I'm going to be using paper ZD and spine for the animation. What I didn't say in the last video was I struggled a little bit with getting paper ZD installed in Unreal. Totally not the developer's fault. Actually just my fault, because I knew it could be used in blueprints, but I was not seeing that you needed to start with a C plus type of a C plus project because it's plain of day and apparently I can't read and it was just in front of my face. So the developers were nice enough to walk me through that and get that running. Actually, when I think about it, it was kind of disappointing in myself because I tell people I'm computer savvy or technologically savvy, but I sort of had that situation where, like when you're trying to teach a grandparent or a great grandparent how to use Zoom, and you think it should not be this hard. It's like as difficult as trying to teach them how to land a plane, sort of thing. Well, I was the great grandmother in the situation. I was not getting it. They were incredibly patient and they helped me out. So it works great now. I love it so much. So we get past all that and I set up the C plus project and I'm ready to go. My problem is I was going to use the 2D template because it had all the blueprints. And again, I don't want to learn how to code. So I was going to be piggybacking off of that. But if I don't have the blueprints in there that already has most of it set up for my platformery character, it doesn't do me any good. So what I ended up doing was I made a separate project, a blueprint template project, and just started taking screenshots. Just all the screenshots, the blueprints that were in there, and then going into my new paper ZD C# file and just rebuilding it. I didn't totally understand everything. I knew most of it. It's kind of like my understanding of Spanish at this point. Like I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, but I can't speak it on my own. But if you wrote it down and put it in front of me or said it real slow, I might get the gist. That's sort of me with blueprints at this point. I just kind of get the gist. I have a vague understanding. I can kind of build off that, but it's worked for me so far, so why stop? So what I thought I'd do is we jump into the game real quick. I'd show you the blueprints and the animation blueprint and just kind of what I've set up so far. Okay, so I thought I'd go into Unreal and just kind of run through what I've been working on. I've done some set dressing here. I used the Polygon City Pack. I got in a Humble Bundle. So kind of just putting some buildings in here, some set dressing, hydrants, garbage cans, road. Just something more interesting to run across. You'll still see the, the platformer template background, but it's that'll be replaced with other buildings and maybe a different background element in the future. So let's jump in and we'll take a quick look at the blueprints I set up. So as I said previously, I had to start with a C+ project, so I just kind of went in and copied everything. Took screenshots and rebuilt all this stuff to kind of match it out, and it worked great. Everything seems to be going well. So we'll start with the toggle between flying and being on the ground.
down here. So basically, if somebody wanted to do this, you go up to Edit, Project Settings. It's going to pop up. You go down to Engine, and then Input. And I added another input for Fly Toggle. Press the F key. So you'll see in here, once that event, input event happens, checks to see if the character is currently flying. If that's true, switches it to walking. If it's false, switches it to flying. Simple as that. I did run into, because I had copied these blueprints, their handling movement was just left and right. So I just kind of rebuilt this, did another input access, but I did move up, recreated this whole thing, but set it to going up and down. So that's how I got my up and down movement for when I fly. It really only works when you're doing the flying. The platform doesn't really do anything. So like I also said previously, using Paper ZD for the animation. So if you go over to here, like where the input action for the jump is set up, you'll see right here that when it does jump, the jump is triggered. I have jump to node, jump name, play jump. That's all associated with Paper ZD. So if you go over to here, whoops, if you go to here, you will see this is the animation blueprint that Paper ZD lets you do with 2D based artwork. So normally it kind of starts as an idle. There's conditions set up that if those are met, then it'll transition into run, and then vice versa. And then you'll see right here that jump to node, that's this right here. So that'll just go into jump. I have one set up for attack animations. But this has been really nice, and having this kind of feature, the animation blueprints, makes it so I can kind of jump into tutorials on 3D animations, and that'll work out for 2D also. You also see right here is my inputs for attack. I have it mapped to a button. Works pretty much the same way. I have a timer set up, a delay timer, so it kind of takes away your ability to move, so it freezes for a second so you're not sliding around while you're throwing the punch, and then it goes back to play idle on the animation blueprint when it's done. So yeah, I can't recommend enough. Copy blueprints, get started. You'll copy what they have. Eventually it'll start to make sense to you once you start walking through it. And then if we go in game, right now, still the same animations running around. I have the hold animation set up for the punching. I need to put a new thumbnail frame in there. No one to punch just yet. I have the grabbing one in there. And then you hit a button and you can fly around. And I have a little bit of lag on the camera, which I like.
So this next week is going to be trying to get a couple of things working. One, in my original Construct 2 project, when the player was flying, the camera would zoom out, and then whenever they landed, it would push back in. I want to get that working again, but I'm having a little bit of trouble accessing the target arm length in Blueprint, so that I can kind of play around and lerp between those two. I also want to solve the landing on top of buildings problem. In Construct 2, it was just a pass-through platform, kind of like Contra. You jump through it and then land on it. In this one, I've got 3 dimensions, so I sort of see the game playing on 2 tracks. You've got the one level with the sidewalk, and then one level with the tops of the buildings, and you just kind of switch between back and forth into the foreground. So I wanted to implement that. But I did have a question for the comments. I'm very curious. Currently, I have a button set as the toggle. I hit a button and it switches between platforming and flying. But that doesn't seem like the nicest way of doing it. I'm playing with the idea of actually charging the jump, and then if you release it after holding it for a little while, it'll pop you into the flying mode. I don't know if that's going to feel good when people do it. I'm essentially wanting to trigger normal jumps on a button release, and then you hold it down to charge up the ability to fly. If you know of any platformer games or third-person games that have a charged jump, ideally jumping when you release the button, I would love for you to tell me in the comments. I want to try these and see if it feels good before I attempt it. I might just end up prototyping it, but I think I heard maybe Spider-Man 2 did it, the GameCube and PlayStation one, so I might look into that. But again, I appreciate you stopping by and watching the video. Any questions or critiques, I'd love to hear them. Please put those in the comments. If you like the video, click like, subscribe, and check the bell if you want to see future videos. Thank you, and have a nice day.